Check out the latest highlights from the Nourishing You podcast.
So when the gut is, or the body is stressed, chronically stressed, and the immune system is kind of crazy and the gut's knotted, the gut can't heal. It can't I don't want to say grow itself, but it can't rebuild its lining. So every time you eat, you kill gut bacteria, even when you eat the best diet in the world. And most of the gut bacteria, I say about half of the gut bacteria in your colon contains what's called lipopolysaccharide, right? An endotoxin. So when the bug dies, the guts that fall out are toxic. Those toxic particles will shred the lining of the gut, or especially the colon, and your body has to repair that. When that happens day in, day out, and you can't repair it, that's where the gut lining starts to separate. You get permeability and you get leaky gut, which I'm sure everybody on the podcast has heard of. As now you start to get dead bug particles and food particles into your bloodstream, the immune system now will attack those because it's foreign, it's not self. When you get the immune system doing that day in, day out, the immune system loses tolerance. So either one of the immune abnormal antibodies against this piece of food, because that piece of food looks like something in our body, or because that bug has donated its DNA to make something in your body. For example, the joint capsules in our body, the DNA of that is very similar to what the Proteus DNA looks like, and Proteus is one of the bacteria in our gut. So if you're now forming an antibody to Proteus, you're going to form an antibody to your joint capsule. So this is a lot of where autoimmune disease comes from. It's leaky gut creating that immune system dysregulation. What happens in the real long run is that some of those antibodies are going to eventually get into the central nervous system and cross the blood-brain barrier. And when the gut's leaky and all those inflammokines and cytokines, all those inflammatory cells are going crazy because the blood-brain barrier gets leaky with aging, what's going to happen is you're going to start to leak into the brain itself all of that garbage. And now, like I told you, you're not sleeping, so therefore you can't clean the garbage out. So this is where neurodegenerative disease comes from. And if you look at Parkinson's disease, what are the precursors? Lack of sleep, lack of REM, and constipation. So you can see where chronic stress, tip of the system, created the gut and the sleep break that then went into neurodegenerative disease. So MS, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all of that has got a poor stress resilience, I should say, component to it. But even if you work on your stress resilience, if you don't fix your system, even if you have a good bounce back, eventually the system will give. So the key is to try to remove some of those guys from the system so you don't beat on it so bad.
If you enjoyed this short episode, check out our full library on our NAMP YouTube channel, where you can catch up or learn more. Keep in mind that the information on the NAMP podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical or legal advice. The NAMP is not liable or responsible for any harm, damage, or illness arising from the use of the information contained herein. By listening to the information on this podcast, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless the NAMP and all agents. Copyright NAMP, all rights reserved.